this video, I'm going to teach you how to create a life cycle assessment for bamboo flooring. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the construction of what you're seeing here, and then we'll talk a little bit about obtaining the content inside. So what you're looking at here is a PowerPoint template, but it's just a blank one. And so you can see I began by just selecting a blank template, and then I deleted the items or the kind of placeholder boxes first. So that was the very first thing I did. The second thing I did was I began to create the elements of this life cycle. And so I wanted to begin by creating that circle and then getting my arrows ready so that as I started to populate this, I would be able to kind of move and shift images around as necessary. So in order to create a shape, all you do is go to Insert, and we go to Shapes, and then we'll grab this circle right here. And then you can just click and drag like I did here. And then you can go to Shape Fill and hit No Fill. You can go to Shape Outline. I selected green, but you can select any color you want. And then you can also adjust the line weight or the thickness like that. So I created that and then moved that over here to the center, as you can see. And then what I did was the same thing except with an arrow. And so you can see here, I've got, you just click and draw, an arrow presents itself. And then once again, you can change the color here as well as the weight to make it large. And then for this one, you can just grab and adjust the length and the direction, the orientation, whatever. And so with these, all I did was begin to copy and paste by Control C and then Control V to copy and paste and move them around and adjust their locations. I also, excuse me, I also created a text box here, just insert and then text box right here. And then I inserted a series of text, and then I, of course, changed the color by going over here as well. So that's how I created the underlying structure of what you're seeing in the kind of the most basic part of this central element here. Then what I did was created a second text box, just in the same way that I just showed you, but here I adjusted the size of the font and the font type, and I also adjusted the color here to green as well. So what you can do is just copy and paste that text box around, as it aligns to the arrows, and that's how you're going to get that underlying structure to this page. So then the next thing that I needed to do was research this life cycle assessment for bamboo flooring. Now, I selected bamboo flooring because it is one of those more controversial finishes because it is rapidly renewing, but it comes from, very far away. And so it's not necessarily the most sustainable option once you analyze it. But what I did was I did a series of internet searches for things like the life cycle assessment of bamboo flooring. And I read through several different articles and scanned internet content to kind of get a general understanding of how bamboo flooring is processed. And then I did a little bit more detailed search on things like, how is bamboo flooring produced? How is bamboo flooring packaged? And so as I Googled these questions, more detailed information came up. So I was able to take that information from all of those sources and synthesize it into a 2-sentence description that I was able to put within this text box. Now, within the text box, I'm making sure that I'm not copying and pasting content from the internet. I'm putting it into my own words, and I'm using full sentences with no grammatical or typographical errors. And so that's what I'm putting here, 2 detailed sentences. You're also seeing that I'm adding this kind of bold font that indicates the step on the life cycle assessment here, just to make sure that it's really clear to the viewer. So that's how I created and populated this as well. Now, we do need to make sure that we have images that are aligned with the arrows and aligned with the text box that represents that specific step within the life cycle assessment. Now, we want to make sure that the images themselves are really clear and crisp. Even though they're small, a viewer can zoom in and see really close up with these images. So just know that even if you adjust the size of them by grabbing the arrows here and adjusting the size, we want to grab it by the corner instead of by the bottom because that's going to distort it way too much. We don't want to do that. But we can also format pictures by using the crop command as well. So we want to make sure when we place these pictures in that we have adjusted the size, they're very close to, if not touching the arrow, and that these images are aligned both with the phase in the life cycle assessment and with the text box that gives information about it. So let's go ahead now and let's do a quick image search here. I'm going to go ahead and pause for just one moment. And so you can see here that I can search for package of bamboo flooring or maybe wood flooring, let's say. And then once I have my initial Google search set, then I can use a couple more of these other tools here. I can adjust just to see images. And I can also go to tools and I could go to usage rights and use Creative Commons licenses. Those are images that are used for students or for, educational purposes, or that are just free for anybody to use. So we want to make sure we do that. And then we might also want to make sure that the size of these images are at least medium or large so that they're high resolution. Once you have that and you have an image that you want, all you have to do is, of course, right click, and then we copy image, and then we go ahead back to our screen here and paste it, and then adjust the size. So once you have the underlying structure with the circle as well as the arrows, you've got the images in. We have a text box that's got 2 sentences in detail of each step with the step in bold right here. Then all you have to do is go up to File and hit Save as a PDF, and you have your life cycle assessment of one particular product ready to go.